My name is Dan Ambrose. I have been representing people charged with drunk driving for the last 14 years. What I am about to share with you comes from the extraordinary experience gained from representing thousands of individuals. Plan ahead if you're going out drinking. Did you know that there are not very many DUIs on New Year's Eve? It's because people are being responsible. Watch out for your friends. Have a system of shared responsibility. Know your blood alcohol content. Spend $400 or $500 and buy the same breathalyzer that your local law enforcement uses. Learn how to use it correctly. The cheap ones from places like the Sharper Image will only get you in trouble. Be careful if you are taking medication and read the warning about mixing with alcohol. If you are stopped, do not admit to taking any of this type of medication. This can mean trouble. The cop and later the court may think you intentionally drank while taking prescription meds just to get higher. If you are drinking and you decide to drive, remember to do the following. Turn your lights on. Automatic lights really get a lot of people stopped. The valet turns them off, it's a lit parking lot, and you don't notice your lights are off. So you pull out and you have given the police a reason to stop you. Come to a complete stop when leaving the parking lot. No cell phone calls or texting. Check your tabs to make sure your plates are not expired. Check your brake lights and license plate light. Don't speed. These reasons would account for 95% of the cases that I handle. Leave for home at least an hour before the bars close. Cops are extra attentive for DUIs and often park outside bars, just waiting for unsuspecting victims to arrest. Keep your license, registration, and proof of insurance quickly accessible. If you see the red and blue lights of the police flashing behind you, do the following. Look for a safe place to pull over, like a parking lot. Crack the window so that air circulates into the car, reducing the odor of alcohol. Put your blinker on when pulling over. When you stop, keep your hands at the 10 and 2 o'clock position. Do not start reaching for anything. Doing so will cause the officer to think you are trying to hide something, like drugs or a weapon. Once you are stopped, do the following. Admit to drinking no more than 3 drinks. Know when you started and when you stopped. Know where you were drinking. Know what time it is. Always keep gum or mints in the car to cover the odor of intoxicants. Doing these things will get you through the screening phase. If you do these things well, most cops will end their investigation right there. If they ask you to step out of your car, they will typically say, "I just want to give you a few tests to see if you are okay to drive." This is a lie. These tests have nothing to do with driving abilities. Here are the guidelines to follow for taking and passing field sobriety tests. Always wait to start all tests until the officer tells you to. Ask clarifying questions if you are not certain what the officer is asking. Most cops will give you a breathalyzer no matter how well you perform on their tests. The most common tests are the following. The ABCs or alphabet. Say them at a steady pace without singing. The backwards number count. Remember the number to stop at. For example, if the officer asks you to count from 94 to 67, this is an example of a divided attention task. You have to concentrate on the number as you count, but also remember where to stop. The finger dexterity test. The officer will ask you to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, and he'll tell you to do it twice, and it appears that you've just done it twice, but he actually wants you to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, and touch tip to tip. It's kind of tricky, and it's meant to be. The finger to nose touch. He'll tell you to put your arms out like this, tilt your head back and close your eyes. And then he'll say, "I'm going to instruct you on which hand to touch the tip of your finger to the tip of your nose with." So if he says left, touch with your left. Right, touch with your right. He'll ask you to do it multiple times. And if you don't use the right arm Or if you don't touch the tip of your nose, he'll consider it a failure. The pick a number test. The officer will say, I want you to imagine a number, any number you want. And then he'll pause and give you a moment to think. And then he'll say, now pick a number between 10 and 12. Now we get to the more legitimate test. These are called standardized field sobriety tests. The first one is the horizontal gaze nystagmus test. The officer will ask you if you have any problems with your eyes. Tell the officer that you do have a problem with your eyes. You have resting nystagmus, which is an involuntary jerking of the eyes. In every case that I've handled, the officer claims to have seen nystagmus. You cannot pass this test. Don't do it. It is totally subjective. You should practice the next two tests anytime you are drinking and considering driving. If you can do them both perfectly, then there's about an 80% likelihood that you are under a 0.08 blood alcohol content. Plus, practice makes perfect. The one-leg stand. You have to keep your arms to your side, lift your foot 6 inches off the ground, and count to 30. It helps if you look down at your foot while doing this test so you can maintain your balance by keeping you spatially orientated. The officer is looking to see if you hop, sway, put your foot down, lift your arms up, or miscount. All of these are considered clues. If you show 2 or more of them, you fail. The next one is the heel-to-toe walk. The officer will instruct you to put your feet in the starting position, and that's putting one foot in front of the other. When he asks you to do this, lean forward, and that will equally distribute the weight so your back leg does not get tired. He's going to ask you to walk heel to toe. When you do, look down at your feet and count out loud. And then he will instruct you, I want you to take 9 steps, touching the tip of your heel to the tip of your toe in a straight line. At the end of the test, I want you to do a 3-point pivot turn and then walk back 9 steps. The cop is looking to see if you take the correct number of steps, if you walk in a straight line, if you lift your arms to your side more than 6 inches, and if you do a turn correctly. The cop is looking for 2 clues to fail you. I recommend that you practice these tests after drinking, so you will do much better on them if you are ever asked to perform and your freedom is on the line. If the cop asks you to do a handheld preliminary breath test, hyperventilate before taking this test. This will expel some of the alcohol from your lungs and may result in a lower test number. In most states, the preliminary breath test is not admissible, but if you don't take it, the officer will most likely still arrest you. If he arrests you, do not answer any further questions once this has happened. You are on your way to the station to take another breath test. Most police cars have an in-car camera that monitors the rear seat of the police car. So pay attention, look alert. It's time to concentrate and be composed. You can beat the breath test at the station, and I always recommend that you take it, because if you don't, you will lose your license automatically in most states. They will almost always get a warrant for your blood, and blood tests are almost unbeatable. There are things to remember when taking the breath test at the station. Blow short. 6 seconds is the ideal length for a low result. Listen for the steady beep of the machine. Count out in your head and then stop blowing. You should hear a pop from the machine. Blowing long, over 18 seconds, will cause your result to be 0.02 to 0.04 higher than a short blow.